The Pilatus PC-12 is a single-engine turboprop passenger and cargo aircraft, manufactured by Pilatus Aircraft in Switzerland. Its main market is corporate transport and regional airliner operators, with a cabin that can accommodate up to 9 passengers. The PC-12 is powered by a single Pratt & Whitney PT-6A-67 engine, achieving a maximum cruise speed of 285 knots true airspeed, with a range of 1,845 nautical miles and a service ceiling of 30,000 feet. Main entry door, closed and locked. Parking brake set. External power off. Battery 1 and 2 off. Generator 1 and 2 off. Avionics bus 1 and 2 off. Non-essential bus auto. The electrical system has 3 power sources: the 28-volt generator 1 and 2 systems, and the storage battery system, which consists of 2 24-volt batteries. The batteries provide power for starting the engine and, in the event of an engine or double generator failure, supply essential electrical systems for 20 minutes if the load is reduced below 60 amps, or 30 minutes if the load is below 50 amps. Generator 1 is the main source of power when the engine is running and is capable of supplying all of the electrical load. Generator 2 is a secondary power supply. In normal operation, it supplies the Generator 2 bus and charges the second battery. If Generator 1 fails, Generator 2 supplies essential services. The battery bus, Generator 1 bus, and the Generator 2 bus are connected to their respective power sources through the battery, Generator 1, and Generator 2 relays, with each relay being controlled by a switch on the overhead panel. The Avionic 1 bus is connected to the main battery line, and the Avionic 2 bus is connected to the main Generator 1 line through relays controlled by switches on the overhead panel. The non-essential bus is connected to the main battery line. On the ground, the DC system can be powered by an external power unit. AC power is provided by one of 2 static inverters. The battery bus powers one inverter, the Generator 1 bus powers the other. AC power is used by the avionics systems. Standby bus on. In the on position, the standby bus is powered without the battery or external power circuits being on, providing power to certain electrical systems. Use of the standby bus is controlled by a time delay, which is limited to 10 minutes. Test lamp, push. Check that the overhead panel indicators are on. External lights, off. Fuel pumps, auto. Ignition, auto. In this position, ignition automatically activates when fuel system pressure is normal, ITT is less than 500 degrees Celsius, and the condition lever is forward of the cutoff/feather position. In the on position, ignition occurs continuously. De-icing, off. Inertial separator, off. The initial separator is also called an ice vane. It prevents foreign objects entering the engine inlet. Cooling system off. Heating off. EFIS composite normal. The composite switch allows presentation of composite data on the EADI and EHSI when composite mode is selected. AHRS1 and 2 slave. The AHRS provides pitch, roll, heading and turn rate information on the EFIS, EADI and EHSI and the radiomagnetic indicator. The AHRS is installed in the avionics bay and the magnetic sensing unit is located in the right wing. The system requires 28 VDC power from either the Avionic 1 or Avionic 2 bus. The DG slave switch selects a free gyro mode when set to DG or AHRS heading information when set to slave. The AHRS is set to slave for normal operation and DG mode when magnetic abnormality is detected. Landing gear handle down. ECS off. The ECS reduces engine bleed air to its desired temperature and delivers it to the cabin air distribution system for pressurization and ventilation. Cabin pressure auto guarded. In the auto position, the cabin is pressurized with automatic control functions. In the dump position, cabin air is exhausted to the atmosphere, depressurizing the cabin. Cabin pressure controller set cruise altitude plus 500 feet. Cabin pressure rate mid position. The rate of cabin pressure altitude change is controlled by the cabin pressure rate knob. Trim interrupt normal guarded. Flap interrupt normal guarded. Manual override lever off. The manual override lever controls engine power in the event of a pneumatic failure of the engine fuel control or a power control lever system failure. Power control lever idle detent. The PCL selects the gas generator speed and in certain conditions it controls the propeller pitch. The PCL has a flight operating range and a ground operating range separated by an idle detent. When the PCL is at the idle detent, the gas generator is at idle and the propeller is at minimum pitch. As the PCL is moved forward of the idle detent, the minimum propeller pitch is directly controlled by the PCL while the propeller is in an underspeed condition during low engine power at a low aircraft speed. When the PCL is moved further forward, engine power and aircraft speed increases until each are high enough for the propeller to operate in a constant speed mode. The constant speed unit then selects a propeller pitch to maintain a propeller speed of 1700 RPM. As the PCL is moved aft of the idle detent, the NF governor limits the propeller speed to an underspeed condition, giving the beta valve, located at the front of the governor, full authority in controlling the propeller pitch. Initial movement aft of the idle detent is used to control taxi speed. Propeller pitch is adjusted while the gas generator remains at idle. The propeller moves into the reverse range as the PCL moves further aft, followed by an increase in engine power. Condition lever, cutoff/feather. The condition lever is used to select the gas generator idle speed and to shut down the engine and feather the propeller. Flap lever, 0 degrees. Cockpit, instrument, cabin light, off. Pre-flight inspection, complete. Battery 1 and 2, on. Voltmeter, check 24 VDC minimum. External power, on. Check 28 VDC minimum. Landing gear free greens, check. Fuel quantity, check. Fuel pumps, on. Check for audible operation. Fuel pumps, auto. Oxygen lever, on. External lights, as required. Test lamp, push. Verify that the warning, caution, advisory lights illuminate and that the overhead panel switch LEDs are lit. Starter, push. Check the oil pressure is rising. When NG is stable between 13 and 20%. Condition lever, ground idle. The ground idle position ensures that the propeller speed remains above the prohibited range for ambient conditions. ITT, maximum 1000 C for 5 seconds, 800 to 870 C for 20 seconds. When NG is stable above 50%, starter sequence completed. Engine instruments check. Fuel totalizer reset. Generator 1 on. Check cause generator 1 off. Generator 2 on. Check cause generator 2 off. External power off. Inverter battery or generator. Check function, change selection. Avionics plus 1 and 2 on. Standby bus off. Now strobe lights as required. Instrument lighting advisory dim. Radios avionics as required. Altimeter set. Navigation set. Autopilot set. EHSI set runway heading. Transponder standby. ECS auto. In the auto mode, temperature control valve operation is controlled by electrical signals from a cabin temperature sensor located on the cabin headliner, maintaining the selected temperature between 18 and 30 degrees Celsius. Temperature setting as required. Cooling or heating system as required. If operating on an unprepared surface, inertial separator open. AHRS, check no flags. Flaps lever, 15 degrees. Flaps must be set to 15 degrees for takeoff. Use of flaps 30 degrees for takeoff is prohibited. Autopilot test, press. Verify all annunciator lights are on. Course panel, check. Verify no red warning lights. De-icing probes, on. Check that the following course cautions are off. Angle of attack de-ice, pitot 1, pitot 2, and static. De-icing left hand and right hand windshield, on. Check cause windshield heat caution is off. If icing conditions are expected, de-icing propeller, on. Check that the cause prop de-ice caution is off. Initial separator, on. Check that the cause initial separator caution is off. De-icing boots, on. Check that the cause de-ice boots advisory is on and that caution is off. All de-icing switches, off. External lights, as required. Passenger signs, on. We are now ready to taxi to the active runway. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe.